we do a fighting withdrawal as soon as we get enough wounded up, or at least in a stable enough position to move them. And so he sent it up the company, was like, hey, there's a platoon coming, and they're bearing down, and we got a mass cas and all this shit. And company, we just froze basically in place because we just had to defend what we had, because we were expecting a platoon imminent to be crawling up our ass, and it never actually came. So yeah, that just kind of turned into nothing. But all the attention went on to, like, where the fuck's this platoon 1-4 is talking about? Company was freaking out about it. Dagger was on company net freaking out about it. Stalker was. Havoc 4. Hell, Dagger was talking to Air, like, trying to get ISR on the platoon. I mean, the whole everybody up the chain was like, where the fuck's this platoon? And it didn't exist. It never happened.
The best.
Yeah. Oh man. It was just funny that it was just gonna be this like cataclysmic thing, and it just didn't even happen. Nothing happened of it. I mean, I went ahead and got everybody in defensive positions and had every sector covered in case it did, but it just never happened. So good for us, I guess. Gave us plenty of time to get the mass cas taken care of. Kind of diverted attention off the mass cas. So maybe that's what they were doing. That's what 1-4 was doing. They were like,
Good for them.
They want to make McCandlin feel better about himself. So let's tell him there's a platoon about to come and stomp her shit. Yeah, maybe he was just bummed that he kind of caused that to happen, or was the cause of it to happen.
Well, I would be too.
Yeah, it's kind of nobody wants to be that guy, but once we found out why it happened, it was kind of one of those things like, well, you get shot with one in your hand, what are you gonna do? I mean, I recommended that he use a flashbang instead of a frag when you're that close to proximity of friendlies, because for just such an occasion, if you get shot or bounces off a wall weird, or go as far as you want.
No, that was definitely a grenade situation, because we were just trying to kill people who were down a hill from us without having to fight into it with guns. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought because you were at those buildings, he was trying to throw it into one of the buildings. That's why I was like,
no, it was
maybe
it was the hill just
flashbang.
beyond. Yeah, it was the hill just beyond those buildings, right? And we ended up like trying to.
Now, Kurt already destroyed one of the buildings and decided that was a bad idea.
Yeah. Okay. So I also did have a fuck up with a grenade.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard.
I didn't expect the building to fucking like that. I remember that from Arma 3, but I've never thrown a grenade into a building and had it blow up.
Well, it probably got hit by other shit too beforehand, because there were BTRs shooting at those positions not long before you got there. So they probably fucked up the building, and then your grenade was just like a straw in the camel's back.
Yeah, I'm just not throwing grenades into buildings that have one room anymore.
Yeah. I mean, throwing grenades into buildings at all when you have that many friendlies in a location, that's why I recommended the flashbang, because it's just like, not a good idea.
Yeah.
Be throwing frags in proximity of friendlies like that. But
they would have been fine.
I thought that's what McCandlin was doing. I thought he was throwing it into one of the buildings, and I was like, well,
no. So you know where the mass cas was on the inside of the ring of the cabins?
Yeah. Yeah.
The grenade was dropped on the backside of those cabins, so we dragged all the casualties around the front to get away from contact down the hill.
By the time I got there, the bodies had already come back to that little wood sort of fence in between that and the buildings. So I thought that's where it actually happened, where people went down. I didn't know it happened out from the... Okay, well, that makes a lot more sense.
McFalls was like, we got to get them off the X. We're going to move them to a spot where we weren't taking contact. Didn't have a problem.
Of course McFalls said that, because he's amazing, because McFalls is the best ever. Fucking super smart guy. I'm not being sarcastic. That's like
Falls could probably.
It sounded way too sarcastic.
I wasn't being sarcastic at all. I'm like, no, of course he did. Actually, of course he did. Yeah. Who else? I mean,
I think McFalls probably knows the whole CLS document by heart.
dude,
Sleeps with it.
when I was a medic and I was teaching CLS, I certainly fucking did, and he's taught more than I have at this point. So there's no way he doesn't pretty much memorize that thing.
It's kind of a whole new bunch of people to teach.
Yeah.
What does he have to teach now?
Styles keep turning.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
No, everybody in the 1-1 is CLS now. Wallace was the last one in here.
Nah.
There's gonna be. There's gonna be more. But the thing is, we could just fucking consolidate 1-1. Not have a third team at this point, you know?
I mean, if
And that
you
doesn't
have
meet the
option-
company's objective.
Charlie is pretty brand freaking new.
If you have the option to keep it, you know, you should try
You
to
think
do
so?
that.
If you have comms through. 2 mics.
Yeah. If you can, if you're, you know, if you can hold out and make sure that this, or to see if people come in and then can kind of fill up the billets, then that's better. Because I'll tell you, so that's what I did originally. We had we had a full Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie at one point. The OG would remember this, so would Wood. And we consolidated. That's how Martinez ended up becoming Alpha's team leaders, because he was Charlie's.
That's right.
Okay.
But we consolidated because we got a bunch of people. In this case, it wasn't actually other people in the squad. It was the PV2s from Charlie were just, you know, they didn't really stick around much. And so we made Martinez Alpha team lead because...
User joined your channel.
Hello, user.
We are ready for the win.
Roger.
User left your channel.
Ready for what?
I was negating.
You were what?
I was delegating so I could sneak up here.
What is Win doing right now?
Oh, that's a state secret.
Oh, is it like the other 1-2 stuff, or is it angles?
It's in Chinese secret?
The other kind of two.
S2?
It's the other kind of two, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Havoc too.
So, Russell, Win has been accepted to TAC P. Well, technically, Unit HQ has to approve it, but he got a letter from Stevens today.
Well, I see. So Courier's taking 1-1, hey? Nope. Damn it, Courier just couldn't escape.
Didn't say that.
You
Not
did
doing
say you'd
that.
do it at least in
You
the
don't
intro.
have to, you said it with your eyes.
I'm doing it in the
Said
intro.
it with your
That's
eyes.
rape. That's rape.
I tried to convince him with the whole radio thing, but I don't think it stuck.
It
I
was
don't
the
know.
most tempted he's been, though. When you did
Yeah.
say
It was. I was imagining a world where I didn't have to do formal radio checks. But
Well,
then I realized I'd still have to do exactly, because I don't do good radio checks with my team as is. So it'd still be in my left ear I have to do a good radio check, and in my right ear I have to do the right way of doing radio checks, which is my way.
So when is gonna be going,
Winds in the wind.
and then Davila's going. Martin is probably going, unless somehow in March he just magically doesn't miss a single fucking thing and he's perfect. But he's missed stuff for long enough at this point.
Well, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but I don't believe it's your squad anymore. You're now the OV.
Davila's going because it's been sent up to me already.
There you go.
And Wynn was talking about Martin, so that's probably the next one that'll get sent up if he doesn't put in for it himself. No, it's not. Well, you know, that being said, You're correct. I am the overhead, and we will be evaluating squad attendance. If there's people that have an abundance of attendance and they're not meeting attendance requirements, then squad leaders will certainly have to hear about it and seek a resolution to it, or they're going to have to contend with the fact that your guy that shows up once a month sometimes might not be the guy that needs to stay in your squad.
You're gonna be our new daddy, Russell?
That depends if you really want that. I have a feeling you don't, but
Well, what I want
wouldn't be
is
the same.
somebody from 1-1 to take it, but not me.
not you, hey. You might not really get a choice in the matter, to be honest. I mean, that said, I think Brian's a pretty good one.
Somebody's got to do the fucking job, okay? Everybody's got to quit being a chicken shit. Somebody's got to step up eventually. Maybe you don't want to, Courier. That's fine, but somebody's going to have to do it eventually. I mean, if you want to keep your dream of the Alpha team, somebody's going to have to take that position. Because otherwise...
Has Russ already told you the plan?
Oh yeah, that you'd come over and do 1-1, and then White would take 1-2.
I discussed
Did
that
Russ say
it
that?
was a suggestion that you had made. That's not...
Oh, okay, well then it's out of the bag. I wanted to
weird.
preserve my secrecy for a little longer.
Oh, that's too bad. Don't tell me then.
But yes, if it was a matter of, if it's a matter of maintenance, because I know that you'd be, well, you'd be losing wind to TAC Ps, so somebody has to do it. And ideally, in my view, you'd want to keep at least half the platoon steady while you train up a replacement.
I'll have you know, though, Russell. Very contrary.
You, contrary, of course.
Yeah, Wynn didn't like it tonight, I don't think.
Oh well, he's just gotta put you in your place and tell you to be good.
Well, I mean, I was being good, actually. You know, what the fucking thing he contradicted me on was we were doing buddy team rushes straight towards an objective, and we were like 20 meters away from cover, and he told us to run 70 meters fucking opposite directions so we could reach at a different point.
With fire at our back, with no cover.
With fire on our back, getting shot to shit. DOG died.
See. Oh, we did okay.
Well, I didn't die. I got.
No,
it.
we didn't, but he went down.
Oh, that's just not acceptable. You gotta not get shot.
Agreed.
Get a matrix that shit. Dodge him.
But
was a
I
little
was like,
concerned that
you
we
know,
were
he
still
told me to
moving
do
around,
it.
so-
He told me to do it, and then I was like, negative, we're already doing this, and he's like, negative to my negative, and when somebody negatives your negative as a subordinate, you have to do it.
Negative, you're negative, huh?
That's literally how it works, right? Like, you get to be like, well, actually, I'm fucking doing this shit right now.
Well, sometimes they don't have all
Your
the
squad leader.
information, so they might accept that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Can't
If
be
they
negative to
insist-
my negative. I know,
if they insist,
which
then
is why we did it.
yeah. Was that when y'all ran? It was up against the wall, and y'all were running towards the trench, and you were told to come back to the other.
It
opening?
wasn't a trench, it was the entrance.
Yeah,
There was an
another
entrance
There's
on
no
that
trench
over
there. It was a perfect entrance. There was cover, there was sandbags, there was people to kill.
There was an entrance.
We were 20 meters away.
Well, before he sent y'all that direction, you were way closer to the entrance we ended up taking. It was more so the fact that y'all had already started going that way.
Yeah, already had smoke
but
out.
that-
We were,
already had-
at no point were we close to that. We just had a green zone that maybe went to it.
Mm.
Like, I had told him, we're going 285. This is what we're doing. He's like, all right.
Oh,
And
I
then
know.
he's like,
I was on your
you know,
squad net. I know exactly what he told you. I was with you at the time. I was with 1-1 at that point.
Yeah. I know.
I had
Being told to go down here and do something. I don't know what. Hold on, I'll be back in a sec.
User left your channel.
he's not coming back.
Good riddance.
Bad guys.
Wood, just so you know, your mic is incredibly quiet on TeamSpeak.
Yeah, yours isn't super loud either. I got you turned all the way up, and it's still a little quiet.
Mine?
Yeah.
He's loud for me.
That's
When
weird.
that one I had, the mic wasn't in my face.
Ah, that's a little better.
Okay, I really actually do gotta go to bed. Shit. This was a mistake.
Yeah, it should.
We'll go to bed then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Might
I'm gonna
have
do
to.
that.
I was trying to
No,
say
I
something
was
to
I was
Wood, but
aware the
he
whole
went
time that
away.
it was, that I had the authority to excuse myself. I just chose not to.
I'm just reminding you in case you forgot.
Oh well, I appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna go though. Good night.
Okay.
Right.
User disconnected from your
Wait,
channel.
what? Don't go yet.
Okay.
You lost the authority to dismiss yourself somehow. I can only give it to one person at a time. I was gonna say before you left earlier, I never really asked you much about, team leading and stuff like that. I did talk to Jacobs about it when he left. I talked to him about you and what he thought, and he kind of expressed the same things you said, except more in the vein that he didn't think you were interested in it. And so I never had any idea that you were interested in it. If your concern is a confidence thing, that's just something you gain over time. Like anybody who just completely has confidence in doing this in the 506 right off the rip is someone who's probably already done it before, and that's why. It's not someone who's fresh to it. So, if that's something you actually want to do, you should, if once Win goes and stuff, whoever's in 1-1 at the time, you should voice your opinion on it. Make it known, because that's the thing. Like, if you don't say that you're interested in it, people are just going to look at the people who are saying they're interested.
Right.
Be the squeaky wheel.
No, it's something I thought about. It's like, my issues, and I think you probably can relate. I'm a dad first, and so I'm already buying on borrowed time when I do jump in, and it's like, how much balance I'm gonna have there, and this is probably all things that are stuff I worry about that probably isn't as big as it sounds. And then, like I said, it's I am prepped to go to surgery at the end of March for my ear issue, and so that is something that holds me back, because there's nights where I do struggle, with comms, and it's like, well, having a group of people and leading them when I'm like last night was a good example where, I don't know if it's Courier's mic or whatever, but like
No, last night his mic was sucking.
I struggled hearing comms. I got lost, stuff like that, and so it's like, so I feel like that's something I have to overcome, but it's also something I've thought about. It's like, yeah, I feel like I'd be pretty decent in a 5-team leader, and I know the confidence thing is gonna come with time. I think it's more my other little disability that I have to kind of figure out and overcome, and in the back of my mind, I do know, okay, in a month from now, this may all go away. Even with the surgery, even if I get, it's not guaranteed I get hearing, but I might get 10% back. So it's more than what I have. But yeah, it's something I got to consider, and this is the time to do it. And the other thing I've thought about, and this might sound bad, but there may be a guy that slides into that position that I don't want to take orders from, and so do I want to jump in there and try to make sure I'm the one that's taking the orders, and the people that I know are above me, I've already taken orders from, as strange as that sounds.
Well, if you decide to voice that, it's up to you. I think, you probably could overcome it and all, but, that that's from my perspective. And what do I know? I don't deal with it on a daily basis or anything. I don't know anything. But I don't know. You haven't had anybody in Bravo that you didn't really care for so far. I mean, as far as I know, you like Wynn, you like Jacobs.
Right, I'm saying the next guy, right? The grass isn't always greener on the other side. I've gotten
Well, yeah.
lucky. I'm sure the next person will be fine, but something
Well,
else I thought of.
If it was Piotrowski or something, what you like Piotrowski?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, or if they consolidated and Brian went over. I mean, Brian, I don't know how anybody wouldn't like Brian. Brian's kind of like.
Brian's pretty solid.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
How do you just? How do you? I'd be hard pressed to find anyone that doesn't like Brian. Like, he's solid, but also like he's just, it's like, how do you not like McFalls? He's just.
I didn't like McFalls for a while.
Well, I
Oh.
think it's the.
And
Who
I went
cares what you
through
think?
OSUT with him too.
Oh well. I wasn't asking you. I was talking about everybody else.
I like McFalls plenty now, though. I mean, he and I have had plenty of good conversations.
He's a good dude. Yeah. And he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's. Yeah. Because the thing is like, it's not all about having a good personality. You gotta
Right. It's how knowledgeable
know what
you
you're
have
talking
to be
about,
able
too.
to-
You gotta-
Yeah.
can't just talk the talk. You got to be able to walk the walk. But I would encourage you to think about it at least. That's the other thing. If you're pretty sure that you think that it wouldn't be a good fit, then don't do it for the wrong reasons. But if you think that you could do it, then take a shot at it. Another thing I would say is, you can just ask if you can step up, right? Like next squad training, say, hey, look, I'd really like to step up and try this thing, and you could lead your team. I don't know. There's no good reason why would they say no, right? And so you could actually get an opportunity to try it out, see how it is. It's kind of hard for me to say to judge it based off of the first time you do it, because everybody thinks they do a bad job the first time, or they're not comfortable, or they get a little overwhelmed. Like I said, all the confidence and the getting comfortable with comms and all that's just like you just got to do it. You just got to do it, and then eventually you get used to it. Like I said, when I first became the squad leader, I'd shoot maybe half a mag through an entire 3-hour event, the entire time, because I was just focusing on comms, focusing on like coordinating the team so much that I just didn't have time to be, or I didn't make time to be in combat or like be on the front. I was hanging back a bit more and trying, because I hadn't built that confidence yet. Or also at the beginning, everybody was all new, and I kind of did have to micromanage a lot more. It hasn't been that way for a little while now. Everybody's so, good to go that it's been easy. I just tell them to go over there, and they make it happen. They knew what they were doing, right? So you don't have to baby them or micromanage them or anything like that. But it wasn't like that for a little while. So, I was nervous the first few times actually. I did it, but you just you learn it and you get over it, and it becomes easier. I used to have, it was like impossible to be on the 2 nets. Now I'm on fucking like 5, so it's possible. But yeah, if you're really not sure, best way to do it is just test it out one time. Just go and test it out. See, like, is this something that I feel like I could improve on and get better and become more confident and more skilled at? Or is this like, okay, there's something that I'm finding here that is like a hard limit for me that, at least for right now, it's not something that I think, I can really overcome, or that maybe I won't perform to the standard that's expected. It's good to be honest about it, right? Don't take on something just because that you're not sure about. In a sense, like, not sure about, maybe that's the wrong word, because you're not going to be sure about it. Everybody, like I said, everyone's nervous when they first do it.
Right, it's an
But-
entry point. It's like I'm not nervous that I don't know, I can't do it. To me, my nerves are, it's the inexperienced nerves, but then, like I said, I think more it's the, overcoming my disability and realizing that I'm probably fine and everything. I think that's more my thing. Like I said, it's the, if I feel like if I don't have confidence in me being able to, to be the leader, then don't bother applying.
Yeah, but you're gonna. Nobody has the confidence usually required the first go around. You know, Win wasn't what he is now even a month ago or 2 months ago. Courier wasn't, and Courier led a fucking platoon over in the 15th. You know, and he still didn't have, like, he wasn't completely on par with where he is now as a team leader. So what does that go to show you? You know, if they've, and fuck, Win was, he was a major over in the 7th Cav. He was leading like a fucking battalion or something. So if they weren't getting it perfectly right, then nobody is. Nobody's going to. Not the first time. You know, no squad leader in their right mind is looking at someone doing it the first time and just tearing them apart. You know, they're looking at it through that lens of, well, it's their first time. What did they do well? What did they at least do well enough to the point where you could see that they can improve? Do they learn? Do they pick up on things? You know, as long as you learn, you can get better at anything.
Right.
But I mean, you got, so Sunday the 22nd. I think there's going to be like an event then. I mean, that one's just going to be whoever. It's like a Task Force Bravo, so you could try it out then, or if you want to do it with people you're more comfortable and consistent with. You got platoon training on Monday. If Wynn's still here and hadn't officially transferred into TAC P yet, you could just ask him if you could, hey, can I hop into Bravo instead of instead of somebody else? Give it a shot. It's platoon training. That's a good place to test your 2 ICs out at. That and squad trainings,
Right.
So I don't see why he'd say no. And if Courier's in charge at that point, come on, Courier's not going to say no. Of course he'd be like, yeah, sure. He'd probably let you run Alpha or something
Absolutely would.
while Brian, picked up Bravo and the rest of the guys. So there you go. Try it out. If you like it, then you can put your name in the hat whenever that comes around. If not, then, well, at least you tried it and you know for sure now, right?
Right. Then go from there.
And go from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
something I gotta think
what
about.
I'd do.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, it's not a bad. Like you said, it's a good way to test it out. Dip my toe in there and figure it out, and then go from there. Get the feedback. Like you said, if somebody says, don't ever do that again," then I know, okay, it's not meant for me. But if someone says, "Hey, you did pretty decent. These are a few things you got to work on," and then I got some building blocks and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's my advice. I would not shy away from at least trying it,
Right. What's the saying there? It's you miss. Was it more shots you don't take, or however it goes?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst that can happen is you tell yourself no, right? In this case, it's not even somebody else really telling you no, because you're just doing it for yourself to see what you think about it. It's not for anybody else. You're not looking for anybody else's approval necessarily. I mean, you should seek feedback. It's always a good thing to do, but if you thought you didn't do okay and everybody else did and you don't want to do it, then that's all the approval that you need. Or if you think you did and you could improve, then shit, try it again another time.
I do sit here and take notes, and stuff I make mistakes on, and all that good stuff. So, and even tonight, the blue on blue, that pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Well, they shot you first, at least.
Yeah, that was kind of, I don't know. Why were they shooting in our direction? Because we were kind of more behind them.
He
Well, that's a
thought that he
positioning
saw
error.
someone run out of the BTR that way.
No, that was an overall positioning error. They had the angles wrong.
Yeah, because Dio, I tracked a guy that came out of BTR. He went my right to left, and then I fired a volley at him, and then I think that's what it was. Is the volley then came at me, because I actually thought my first volley was actually what started it. That's why I stood up. And so then it was no, because then after I readjusted because I saw movement like just behind the first guy I took out, and so then I turned, shot a volley, and then I realized what actually caught my eye was the berm, and then there was a head, and then I would notice that then it was like, wait a minute, there was two heads, now there's only one, and then it was like, oh my god, that's blue on blue, you know, and it was like almost immediately knew it as it went through. But like I said, it was just like they were in my direct line of sight. Like I didn't have to move my crosshairs very far to get them in my sight. And it was because that guy came out of that BTR and moved, you know, and I think like Sergeant Rouse was saying, it's like our angles were bad. So my line was, you know, tracking that BTR. They were going to be in my line of sight. My first volley may have actually still started it. You know, who knows? That's just splitting hairs, but it was like they were too easily in my line of sight for, you know, with the chaos that was going on.
Yeah, it was just an angles thing. When you set up an ambush like that, you know, that's why you don't set up an ambush where if you are directly across from each other, your sectors are never going to be directly across. Like you're going to be looking down like an LDA, or you're going to be looking, one will be looking across and the other one's looking back. You're never looking at each other, you know what I mean?
45 degrees and 90 degrees.
Yeah, you're never going to be shooting at something where the target's in between you and a friendly, because that's just stupid, right? You know, that's friendly fire waiting to happen. So that was the mistake there, was poor positioning during the planning phase. But which, you know, the feedback came up during the debrief on that. But that obviously that mistake had happened. That's why I didn't really bring up much more about it, because it had already been spoken on. But that was one of the points that I had noticed. Yeah, my point in being there wasn't to pick apart their squad training the entire time. It was sort of to well, let them do the planning, see if they get it right, and if not, then okay, we can talk. And that's what during the debrief, bring it up. Hey, well, you planned this, and I wanted you to see like how the mistake panned out, so you could at least learn from it. But instead of correcting before they get the chance to even see it. But that was a note that I had to bring up. I just didn't because they brought it up themselves. So I was like, well, what am I gonna do? Just sit here and tell you like
Everything
you just admitted you made the mistake. Like I don't need to rub it in or anything. Like you learned your lesson. Like we can move on. Nothing more to talk about, you know? Okay, just do better next time. That's all. That's all this is. It's training. It's exactly what it's for. Is, you know, either doing well and knowing why you did well, or fucking up and knowing why you fucked up and not doing that again. You know.
Right. And like I said, both parties, like even the guy I shot, he knew he screwed up, and I knew I screwed up. And, and that was, I think the bigger part of it is like, okay, everybody manned up, knew I screwed up. As soon as, even as we were coming through, Curry had said to Alpha, he goes, yeah, I think there was blue on blue, and I was like, yeah, it was me. And Dio was like, it was you. And I kind of probably surprised him, but it was like that. I realized it, knew the mistake, and then, in the chaos we kept moving, and so I'm not going to shout out, yeah, I shot somebody, but then like you said, once we sit down and talk about it, it's like, nope, I made that
Yeah,
mistake.
I had no idea it was you.
Well, it's not the place in the middle of
Yeah.
in the middle
Right.
of it. And shit, I talked to the squad leader separately because they completely fucked up. I mean, they did the ambush, cleared through the area, like the kill zone to, search for, I don't know, any intel that's left, anything, and then also for dead bodies, or make sure they're all dead bodies, rather. But there was kind of no plan for, okay, well, what the fuck do we do after that?
Where's the
Because,
rally
well,
point?
you have to think about the concept of what an ambush is. It's like, well, you're ambushing a
In and
target
out.
to destroy it. You're not going to be quiet about it. I mean, fuck, you're kicking off with a goddamn rocket being shot at somebody. It's perfectly reasonable that, well, they came from somewhere. There might be more of whatever came from that somewhere. You need to get off the X. So, conduct your business, kill them swiftly. Like, that's why, if you ambush and then it turns into a 5-minute firefight, well, that's a failed ambush. Like, you should annihilate the enemy rather quickly. Or, maybe you can plan for that, and then, so there's a planned withdrawals. Like, we're going to do as much damage as we can, for a minute or two, and then we're going to withdraw. Like, purpose is to cripple them, that type of thing. But anyways, and that type of ambush, motorized ambushes especially, because you're ambushing something on a road, they're motorized or mechanized, and you might have, they came from somewhere, so they might have a QRF. That QRF is very likely going to be also motorized or mechanized because, well, they came from somewhere that has fuel, mechanics, equipment, all that shit. So you have to make a plan for, okay, when we attack these guys, we're going to attack them, or we're going to ambush them, kill them, make sure they're dead, which is, the sweet thing afterwards. And then either you have to, it's kind of like a raid. You're in there for a very specific objective, and then you leave. You don't linger. Like, the worst thing you could do is you ambush, and then you just stay where you ambush for a long time. What if they had air support? Where do you think that air support's going to look first? They're going to go check the ambush site. And if you're still there, well, they're going to fucking kill you. That's exactly what they're going to do. So you ambush, and then you either need to push, any additional contact that comes through as a quick reaction force. So you need to move in the direction that the enemy came from. Or you need to do a hasty withdrawal. Immediately everyone gets the hell out of there. So that any large follow-up force, say you ambush a platoon and you kill a platoon, but there's like a fucking battalion-sized force back at a base, you're not going to be able to push and then sustain that combat. You got to leave, right? Your job was to kill that platoon and then get out of there. But that's where they messed up tonight, is that there was kind of no plan after the ambush was completed. It was like you completed the ambush, but now you need to actually finish. You did the ambush, but you didn't complete it entirely. You didn't exfil. Or it's just like when you do CQB, when you clear a building. Okay, now that the building's clear, if you have nowhere else to go, you're not going from building to building, which obviously, that's your next mission. There's nothing to talk about, but if you have nowhere else to go, then you get security around wherever you're at. But you're not done until everybody's got their sectors and they're set. You're still in motion. But we kind of lollygagged after the ambush, and therefore weren't really prepared for that QRF. We handled that very sloppily. And so that's what I talked to them about on the side. Unfortunately, I thought there was going to be another ambush after that one because I'd seen something set up somewhere else on the map. But ended up being where we went and did this humongous compound with understrength squads. I'm not quite sure why it was that large.
It was more fun because of it, though.
Well, it could have been like smaller in scope, like just like literal, square
Size,
footage,
right,
and then just more dense.
Yeah.
Because that was it was too large of an objective for the element that we had. I mean, we did it obviously, but that's more of a testament to the training of 1-1 and 1-2 than it is to like a reasonable scale of an objective. Really, you would have. You could have brought a platoon into that, and that would have been reasonable to bring a platoon into that objective. We had 2 understrength squads instead, so that's why I was like, what the hell? This is a little outside the realm of capability. But like I said, everybody did it. I wouldn't say it was clean, though. I still think it might have. Don't get me wrong. I had fun. I agree with you. It was fun, but it wasn't clean. There were a lot of casualties.
Yeah,
There were too many casualties, in fact. We should have technically failed
we
that.
had 5 just in our squad.
Yeah. Too much. Way, way too much. That would have been a failed objective had that been like a task force. If you just scale that up and scale that number of casualties up to like a task force site, that would have been a failed objective. We failed based on, I mean, you're not going to take over a whole base
What
with
is the new
half your
ticket
guys.
system? How many is a fail, or have they figured it out yet?
Well, they're still tinkering with it, but I'm letting you, I mean, you had 5 people in a single squad. They're now walking wounded.
Yeah.
They're not as combat effective as they should be, so. One of the squads didn't even have a medic.
Yeah, we didn't have a medic. Thankfully, Brian was doing a great job of seeing that.
Yeah, Brian was running around the wind all night. He was Captain Commando, just doing everything. He had CLS. He had a wall tube. I think he even had a grenade launcher. He was doing everything. he was the every guy.
Having fun.
Yeah, grenade launcher and a lot.
Did he
There
have?
you go. No, he didn't have an
I was
AR.
gonna say he'd have to be fucking. He'd have to be fucking. I mean, just the grenade launcher, the law, and CLS. That's a heavy son of a bitch.
I guess Wynn got offline. I actually need to go and talk to Russell and White about some S2 stuff.
Oh, good. Gotta get off here anyway.
Yeah, I need to talk to him about that and then head out.
And then I should talk to Russell. I should also get off this. My daughter threw up. That's what I had to run upstairs for.
Oh.
Too much going on in the Wood household.
Do you need me to pass a message so he can get back to you?
No, I sent him a message today, and I said if you want to discuss tonight, I can. But I don't know if he never responded to my message, and so I'm not going to push the issue. He can read it, respond to it.
Oh, well, shit. If he doesn't respond in 24 hours,